What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Brandon's Face. It's the podcast about a playlist. I'm Jonathan Beardsley.
And I am Brandon May.
We hope you're all doing well. We're here this week to talk about some releases from December, a few from January as well, but we'll be moving into all newer albums starting next week. We did have a few noteworthy albums drop in the time that we were away doing our Album of the Year series. We will definitely get to those in a minute. We usually kind of start off with whatever music news there is. There's not been like a ton of music news in the time we've been away. Drake has sued and then not sued and resued a few times. I think we'll cover that down the road when all the information is out there.
After
Unfor
discovery on that case. Let's
exactly. Yeah,
for
let's just
discovery.
let's give it like the same timeline Making a Murderer had. I need like 7 years, and then we'll have the full story of Brandon and I'll share our thoughts then. Um, yeah, unfortunately, I think the big news everybody knows right now in the world is that Los Angeles is slash was on fire. As a result of those fires, dates for many things are being pushed back. The Weeknd moved his album back by a week, I believe a show as well. Beyonce was supposed to announce something January 14th as kind of highlighted in her Christmas Day halftime performance on Netflix. Nine Inch Nails, there was a bunch of leaks about a tour of theirs that was supposed to be announced. They said the leaks are true, but they are waiting to announce everything in full because of the fires. The industry is definitely being impacted by all of this. It doesn't seem like any of these are long-term delays, but it's kind of hard to tell how something like this plays out. I imagine there's going to be a lot of fundraiser shows in the future. Do you have any thoughts on this situation?
Well, first of all, rest in peace to everybody who has lost their life in the fire. It's they're not fully contained yet. I believe the Eaton fire is probably clearing up now. The Palisades fire, I believe, is probably yesterday I checked and it was about 26%. So let's hope it's closer to 40% contained as of today. It's an industry thing for sure. Madlib lost his house and decades of music that he had
Mhm.
that has never been released. It's possible that there's like another Mad Villain or two mixtapes that we'll never see. All his whole record collection of, what is that, like 8,000 pounds of records he has was lost.
Mhm.
It's
Crazy.
been a crazy time in California. I think a lot of people are actually out here in my neck of the woods now, especially the people who had the foresight to like book something or already had a house out here, I was driving
Yeah.
down past the La Quinta Resort the other day and saw like a stack of Suburbans that were very clearly like a security detail for one or two very, very, very important people. But yeah, it's a
Important
shame,
is
man.
subjective, but yeah, two very wealthy people for
Sure. Yeah,
sure.
there you go. There you go. VIPs doesn't necessarily mean that literally. Yeah, but I mean it's the whole situation is honestly it's tragic.
It's terrible.
It really is terrible. I'm kind of at a loss for words there. The industry is being affected, but so are everybody else's lives and people being displaced. One of my bosses actually had to evacuate. They were like a block away at one point. His
It's
house is
terrible.
fine, but it's a crazy thing, man. We luckily in the desert mountains keep the weather away, and so I haven't seen any stacks of smoke or
All
anything like that.
weather.
Yeah,
All
right.
weather.
Except for the fucking sun. Um, but yeah, I mean it's been a crazy, crazy couple weeks in California, man. Something about bad religion saying this 20 years ago or something.
Yeah, I mean, to anybody that's lived in Southern California the past 10, 15 years, it probably felt like something like this always had the potential to happen. And yes, I don't mean to minimize its impact outside of the industry. We're just covering the music side of things. That's why I'm leaving it there. It's obviously been devastating, no matter who you are of any wealth or status. It's a terrible situation.
One
I
other
hope
thing
that
in
it
the
trends in a better direction, though.
Of course, yeah, and it is the winds being the way they were really sparked everything. But one other thing that was
Yeah.
delayed, just like Heaven has their festival lineup, I guess they had paid for billboards in advance. Those billboards went up, but because of the fires, the actual release of the lineup was not like put on the internet, you know.
Interesting.
But people posted photos of the billboard with the lineup on it though. So it's Vampire Weekend, Rilo Kiley, TV on the
Yeah.
radio, which is cool. It's a great lineup.
Yeah, that's funny. If the billboard was going up and there was nothing you could do about it, just put it out there. I get that
Yeah.
it seems insensitive to release information. I've seen a few artists be like, "Hey, I've tried to withdraw the release of this song happening this week, but there's really nothing I can do. It's already in the machine," type of thing.
Right,
It,
right,
it
right.
I don't think anybody's trying to be insensitive in that regard. Like I said, I think I've already seen like Billie Eilish and some others announcing some fundraiser shows. So we'll kind of see how this one plays out. We don't need to linger on a sad note for very long. We're here to talk about music. I'm
We
excited
are.
to talk about these releases with you. So let's dive in, man. We got this new one from Alok and Clementine Douglas, Body Talk. Song is great. I remember seeing Alok's name starting to appear a lot like around the mid 2010s when I was doing those deep house sets, but I never realized how big he's gotten over time. I can hear why with this song. It is so well produced, features one of the best vocalists in the genre delivering a killer performance. But man, I saw like a live video of him recently in this big pyramid setup, just the crowd around him. It's insane. I did not realize he had gotten to this height, and I feel like I feel like I owe him an apology or something. This is outstanding, man. What do you think of this track?
I have the same reaction to you as far as so far as his fame as of right now on Spotify, he is number 257 most streamed artist in the world.
It's insane.
He's
Yeah.
got 24 million monthly listeners, man. This is a deep house banger. You knew that. The bass line
Yep.
is out of control.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Clementine Douglas up there with Hala right now, and like anytime they're on a song, listen to it, no matter if you know the producer or not.
Right.
New one from Anima, Masano, and Nathan Nicholson, Angel in the Dark. I love the run Anima's been on. All the videos I've seen from his Sphere residency have been astonishing, but in terms of his songs, this one just feels pretty textbook to me. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on it?
You can tell it's an anima track by the way that it is. Um, what I actually had a coworker head out to a Sphere show on the
No
11th.
way.
Believe it was might have been his the last show. He said it
The
was
end of
crazy cool.
Genesis.
He said it was crazy cool. You know, the
I
visuals
bet.
you know from Anima, they were all there, but uh, like 8,000 times as big because it's in this giant sphere. He said it was a lot of fun, so I believe him.
Yeah, the guest sets have been really, really cool. He's had a lot of guest artists come out. I know Ellie Goulding came out to do their new song together. He co-produced that FKA Twigs song. I think it's Eusexual, the like title track off her
Yep.
upcoming one. She came out and did that one live. The openers, though, I saw like some videos from Charlotte DeWitt's set. Incredible stuff, man. Really, really good. I love that he not only put the entire genre on a pedestal for these shows, but he also gave other artists, no matter how like popular they are in the States, a moment to shine. And it seems like for the most part, everyone that got that opportunity ran with it.
Yeah, I agree. I saw some videos of Charlotte's set, and it looks like she threw down a crazy set. Good for her.
New one from Clooney, Young Ma, and In It Raw called Stephanie, another banger from Clooney, likely to get just as much play at frat houses across America as it does in clubs around the world. My man catches a lot of heat online. I am a Clooney fan. I love his sound. But man, I don't know if it was this song or not, but he mixed something into Inner Bloom at a live set once, and everyone just roasted him. So when he dropped this song, he was like, listen to it. Mixes great into Inner Bloom. Love the man. What did you think of this one? Is this one up your alley or not?
Yeah, I really liked it, man. I mean, look, the lyrics are the lyrics, but they all work, you know? Like
Yeah, they work, and the little stutter effect on the last drop with the vocal and stuff. I think it's a fun song.
yeah,
Exactly,
man.
you know it.
Of
Uh,
course I do.
New one from Disco Lines and Side Piece and Mike Sherm called Fuck It Up. Really fun song. Love that heavier drop near the end of it. What about you?
It's funny. I was going through the playlist and I was like, "Oh, Disco Lines. Wait, Disco Lines and Side Piece."
Yeah, man. We'll talk
Um,
about Disco Lines a little bit more next week, but he just signed to Experts Only, John Summit's imprint label. So it'll be
Hey,
interesting to see
good
where he
for
goes from
Disco
here.
Lines. Yeah, that beat switch into a dubstep drop is so good, bro.
So fucking good. We'll talk about Side Piece a little bit more later too. We got a new one from Shy Girl. Fuck me. You already know I love this dude. She
You
just
love this.
continues to crush it. Room 2 cannot come soon enough. Very excited for that. What do you think about this one?
Side Girl did it again. Those are my
Yep,
notes.
always does, man. All right, a new one from They, straight up. We finally got a single to follow up Diamonds and Pearls. Everything I wanted it to be. I've listened to this so many times, Brandon. Only you could imagine how many times I've listened to this, honestly. Um, the delay after Diamonds and Pearls was interesting because I know they were testing a lot of new music around then. I looked further into it. Unfortunately, it's not like a good story. The singer has young son had cancer, so he just decided to
Yikes.
like take the time away. He was like, "Fuck it." Like, there's, I get that I'm in the middle of my career right now, but there's really like no playbook for this, and I think that was the right move. It seems that they're at least at a place where he's comfortable focusing on art again. They announced the new album, Love Jones, which I think they were in the process of starting to roll out when Diamonds and Pearls came out, but put on pause is coming out Valentine's Day, which is like an even better release date than you can really ask for an R&B album from they, man. They've already released another new song we'll talk about next week, but they don't miss. They don't miss, man. What did you think of this?
Yeah, same. They really just don't miss. They've got it. I'm excited for new music from them. Absolutely, that move that one of them made was the right one to spend time with their family instead of giving us these smooth R&B tunes. So,
The
as
music can
much as
wait,
yeah, yep, it sure can. You know,
and it was worth the
sometimes
wait.
things are important.
Yep, yep. Now they get to do it right, man, and I'm glad. I think it's gonna be a really fun album. New one from Little Sims, Hello Hi. You cannot stop her from dropping a banger in December, dude. And who would want to? As always, just the bars are immaculate on this. What are your thoughts on it?
Man, she actually has to be one of the better rappers of today, full
Yup.
stop. Every single one of her bars hit, and she just has this fantastic musicality that goes along with like whatever pentameter she's using.
Hmm.
It just, uh, chef's kiss over here, man. This was fucking great, as is most of her music,
Dude, I agree. Every time her and Dave are on like a best UK rappers list, I'm like, just take UK out of it. They are two
right?
of the best rappers right now. There's
100%.
no question about that. New one from Skepta and produced by Lex Luger, Alpha Omega. I still don't know what happened to the Knife and Fork album we were promised last January, but if he's gonna just keep dropping singles, I'll take him. This was another great one, man. Easily like second or third for me in like the run of singles he's been on the last year or so. What about you?
Come on, Skepta, drop the album. Yeah,
Just drop the
this is
album.
great. This is
Don't
great.
police his art, man. This is all because people got mad about his album art, and he was like, "Don't police it." Now we don't even get it. Notice the album artwork is missing. What do you
It's
think of this
funny.
new Beach Fossils one, Inside Out?
Soft, melancholic with just the right amount of gaziness to it. Yep, this is a Beach Fossils track, and I like it.
Yes, it's the gaziness I really like. This track usually would not fall under the umbrella of something I would enjoy very much, but I thought this one was pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, I would agree.
New one from Anxious, Head and Spine. I've had this one on repeat since it dropped. I liked the last single. I love this one, man. This one is so up my alley. It's ridiculous. What do you think about it?
This is quickly becoming one of my most anticipated albums to
Yeah.
release this year, John. They are really channeling their early Taking Back Sunday on this one, and I
Hmm.
fucking love it.
Here for it. Here for it, man. New one from Thursday, taking inventory of a frozen lake. They've released a few new tracks over the past few months or so, but they're screaming again. We got Thursday screaming again. I'm all in. I was hesitant. I've pushed my chips into the middle of the table. Let's go Thursday. What'd you think of this one, man?
Going all in. I'm actually very excited. I get to see Thursday in what is that, 13 days now? 14 days, something like that.
Gonna be
Yeah,
rad.
yeah, they're opening for Silverstein, and I heard the screams on this one, and I was like, Jeff, thank you.
Yes,
Like,
dude. Yes. I saw them in like 2016, and I remember they hadn't released anything in a while. They hadn't played a show in a while. I think it was like one of the first shows of the tour. They come on stage. I think they did Understanding in a car crash, and he's like, "We're just gonna play old shit tonight," and then they just went right into it. Uh,
amazing.
yeah, I've never been like a huge Thursday fan, but that moment, I was like, respect. Great
You
track
know,
though.
my brother-in-law actually said it best. I told him Thursday was opening for Silverstein, and he was like, man, Silver or Thursday is like if you put them on paper, they're the like perfect band for me. I've just never gotten into them, and I think it either clicks or it doesn't with a
Yeah.
lot of people. This song was great. Obviously, Full Collapse is it's a classic album, whether or not you like really connected with it or not.
Hmm.
And it really
Yeah.
fits into all right, are you an emo kid or a hardcore kid? It doesn't matter. We all like Thursday, you know? So
I think the real appreciation of their music, which I am admittedly lacking, comes if you really dive into the lyrics. I think whether or not you like the overall sound might be one thing, but he is unquestionably one of the best songwriters in the genre. Really, really, really good writing.
absolutely no doubt.
Dude, talk to me about this song, Tendrils by Seisha. I love this track.
So I was getting very curious about Screamo or what the kids are calling Scrams uh, a few years ago, and
Yeah.
this band kept coming up with, and they've got one other release on Spotify. It's from like July of 2016, but I think that's really just like a collection of all of their music.
Okay.
That's pretty much all they've put out along for a long time, and we got a new song. So here it is. This is Seisha, and we should all be very grateful. I hope there's a new full record on the way, judging by the fact that there's like full artistic album art. It sounds like them. I think we're in for a treat in 2025 if I were a betting man.
I agree to all of that, man. This just it rips. You know I love this style of screamo. Thank you for
I
adding it.
know.
I hit follow so fast. The artwork beautiful on this one.
Great.
I hope it is the also the artwork for an album or something coming out soon. That would be great.
Yeah, I hope so too.
All right, one more single this week is from Under Oath, Generation No Surrender. They've released three songs post Voyeurist, or at least in this kind of more recent run post Voyeurist. All three have been very different. I have no idea what they're doing, but I'm liking it. What about you?
Yeah, man. Under Oath is throwing us curveball after curveball after curveball. This would be a more traditional Under Oath song than the other two that they've released. I guess
Yeah,
it's a controversial opinion from what I've been seeing online, but I love all three of the new songs. Like, give me
yeah.
all of this. I'm so curious how to see how they put in sequence these. Like almost conflicting styles into a record, and I have no doubt they'll do well at that. So yeah, I'm about it, man. This is a great song.
They've also done everything at this point. Like they can do this. They have a classic catalog from back in the day. They went through a more obscure period where they were kind of darker and more experimental. They came back, made new music, toured all of the albums everybody always wanted them to tour
Yep.
multiple times. They've they've played all the songs we want them to play as many times as we've asked them to play it. If they came back and made a new metal like heavy album like Voyeurist that kind of scratched that itch that people were asking for, let them fuck around, dude. Let them do whatever they want at this point. They have more than earned it.
Let them cook. Hey, we actually talked about this when Silverstein had dropped Misery Made Me because there was a lot of experimentation on that album. They really branched out quite a bit from their
Yeah.
signature sound, and it worked really well. And we talked about it on the podcast when we were chatting about it. And like, bro, they've been doing this for 20 plus years. Like,
Yeah.
if
Veterans.
when are you gonna experiment if it's not 20 years into your fairly
Right?
successful career? You know what I mean? Like, y'all got it. So like, do it. Let them cook. I'm about it.
Yeah, make my heroin again. Like, no.
Right. Right.
Jesus Christ. All right, we got a few EPs to talk about this week. First up, the only K-pop one on the playlist this week. It is from Twice. The EP is called Strategy. It's a Twice EP. It's fine, forgettable. Strategy with Megan Thee Stallion is a fucking bop, though, man. Did you like any of these?
Yeah, I liked strategy with Megan the
Of
Stallion.
course.
Yeah,
Couldn't get it
I'm
out of
not
my
a bit
head.
I'm not a big fan of the EP as a whole. It just
Neither.
in one ear and out the other. And sure, there's plenty of catchy parts, but that's about it.
You know what? This is also their 14th EP technically, so like Under Oath, let them cook. Let them do whatever the fuck they
Real,
want.
hey, for real.
14 EPs in, plus however many albums they've sold out football stadiums. You want to make just bland EPs? Go for it, man. This I thought this one was a little better than that, but just not very memorable. That Megan track is a banger though.
Real.
Let's talk about this Party Favor EP. The Party Never Dies. This release is so fun. The only downside to it is that it is the last release for Party Favor.
Ever?
Yeah, I did not realize that Party Favor is the side project of one of the members of Side Piece, and I think that project seems to be doing just so well that he's shifting all focus and kind of ending this chapter of his career. But part of me still hopes that he'll revisit this somewhere down the line because it's really good. You can't tell me that a back-to-back after hours set when he's looking through his USB and sees some of these tracks he's not going to just shuffle that on really quick. So I don't think the music will ever truly die, but I feel bummed because I just like found Body a few weeks ago and I was like, oh yeah, dude,
Right.
Party Favor's great. And now I'm like, oh, the party is over. It did die. I'm kind of bummed about that. What did you think of this EP though? Good note
Well,
to go out on?
yeah, I love this EP, and you're telling me that Party Favor is dying, but the title of this EP says The Party Never Dies, so I'm confused. But uh
You lied to me when I specifically asked you not to.
hey man, there's some really cool dubby parts on this. There's some great house tunes on it. The sound design on tracks like Breathe, like really kind of break that like dubsteppy mold, but like still have this like very clearly like a signature Party Favor sound to them. I really liked this EP, man.
I'm glad you liked it as much as me. Bummer that it's the last one, but I'll definitely have it in the rotation for a while.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Like Roses EP. Stuck is the name of it. It's also the name of the new track. We got four perfect songs. I expected nothing
Yeah.
less. Yeah, in the short time I've been listening to them, they have become one of my favorite bands. Like they are to me what In Angles is to you right now. I always look
Fair.
forward to new music from them, so getting this like right before the end of the year felt like a treat. Feels greedy to ask for more already, but I really, really, really hope a full-length album is in the future eventually. This is great. The new song Stuck is great. All the other three songs we've talked about ad nauseum, but I will say again, they're great. What do you think about this EP?
I like you, bro. I love this band. They
So
have the
good.
sound, right? I actually it was the first time this week I was like, well, I love this band so much. What does their Spotify bio says? I bet it's something cool. It says you're gonna suffer and you're gonna be happy about it. That's it. It's so good.
Perfect.
Yeah, man, they've got the
Describes them
sound.
perfect.
They've got the vocals, they've got it all, man. They're crushing it. Like I said, I like you said, I hope that these tracks are just maybe singles for a record. Broken Things, Lie to Me is such a good song, dude. And then obviously the new track is amazing. Stuck is great. This is fantastic. Great job, Like Roses.
Even more impressive is they've been on the road pretty much nonstop like the past year or so. So to keep getting new music out is always appreciated. And yeah, this project is really rad. All right, man. We got a few more EPs to talk about here. Renee Weiss. This EP is called Moving Pressure 2. Uh, really good EP. The drums on Rough Escorts are outstanding, man. Really liked that track. Talk to me about this one.
So this one is great. I've been listening to a couple of Renee Weiss's sets over the
Weiss.
last year or so. This dude is just a masterclass in like proper techno right now, man. The guy's doing it, right? Released on Moving Pressure, which I believe is a label. I think this is the second release on Moving Pressure. I've yet to explore any other releases, or the only other release, but Psilocybin is amazing. Just what a way to start a techno EP. Bleep Police is also so good, man. They're more like bells with all the resonance on it, but they're still bleeps and bloops.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I was gonna write great beeps and boops on my review, but I was like, Brandon's gonna be so mad if I say that again. So I'm glad you said it. All right, talk to me about this Pierce Grand Finale EP.
Kind of industrial, kind of
Hmm.
hypnotic, a little bleepy, not too bloopy, minimal, but still rising and falling with the tides, man. This is great. Released on Float Records, which I think we've covered a couple of their releases over the last year or so. And yeah, I heard, I think Side Quest is the one I previewed, and I was like, yep, throwing this one on.
You described the nuances of it a lot better than I could. It just sounds like some really good clubby techno to me. Side Quest and Unseen Threat are both just undeniable jams, dude. Really, really good stuff.
For sure.
This EP from In Lessons, Self-Aware. This is really, really good, man. This reminded me a little bit of Old Seosin, which I do not say very often. Where'd this come
Right.
from?
No idea. I forgot. I clicked follow on their Spotify a while ago. I forget. They've criminally underrated, as are most of the like really good releases we get lately. 462 monthly listeners on their Spotify. Way, way, way
Criminal.
too low. Yeah, they have that early 2000s sound while not being too derivative, and I love the CP, man.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Great find, man.
Agreed.
One one more EP to talk about this week is the Daniel Steiner Born of Stardust EP. This is just some hard-hitting, epic as fuck, over the top shit, and I like it, man. What are your thoughts on it?
So uh, this was actually a submission. Daniel actually emailed us. I don't take all submissions, and I previewed it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we got to cover this one." I know this is our best of December playlist, but this actually released in November.
How
Uh,
dare you?
I was listening to I think it was Abomination, and I was like, man, I should write lyrics and put some growls on this. This is so good. The bass is crisp and complimentary. The riffage is fantastic. The drums, for being programmed, sound like really sharp and hard. The little like melancholic and atmospheric break in Abomination is really cool. I like this one. Daniel, please keep making music.
Yes, please. This was great. It's always fun to do a submission every once in a while, man. Are you
Agreed.
ready to talk about the albums this week?
I'm ready.
All right, man. Let's start off with the SZA SOS Deluxe Codename Lana album. This album is great. I listen to it every day, sometimes multiple times a day. She is incapable of making music that I don't enjoy. There's no way this album is anything less than a 9 for me by this point. The only thing I don't like about it is the way that it was presented. This comes 2 years after SOS. It's 15 new songs. Everything about it feels like a new album, yet it's being marketed as an appendage to her last album, which just so happened to be about to break some arbitrary chart records. And releasing this as part of that album ensures that her album will stay on the charts for even longer and continue to break more arbitrary chart records. Let me just say, I am so fucking bored with chart manipulation tactics, a subject we have covered so much this year. And I know it's nothing new for like the industry, but the way it's changing, like this specific era, is so much worse, in my opinion. Again, this should have just been a new album. I'm not even blaming her. I don't know how these things are handled. I don't know if she wanted that or not. I'm just tired of it, man. I needed to say something about that because it's been driving me crazy. But that aside, I absolutely love this piece of work. Her voice and melodies get better with every release. That collab with Kendrick, very solid. It's all incredible, man. Again, Easy Nine, album of the week, I guess album of the month in this case. We'll see if it's an album of the year, if it qualifies for next year. My standout is Drive, which is also my song of the week. What did you end up thinking of this one?
That's right. Yeah, SZA can't miss, my dude. I actually didn't know. I was so curious because, like you said, it feels like a new record. Like
I didn't
it doesn't.
add the SOS songs either because it felt
Of
just
course.
gratuitous to tack them on.
Right, of course. Uh yeah, this is I look, man, from the first synth lines of No More Hiding, I just knew that we were going to be in for a treat here.
Yeah.
Like I said, normally when we get deluxe albums, we get like 3 to 6 tracks, but this is like a wild amount of music that I mean I would imagine it's TDE, right? She's on TDE, isn't she?
Yeah,
That's
one more album released is one more towards her being
right.
out of her current contract and can
Right.
sign for more money. Yeah.
So that's a thing. Uh this is strong. It's confident. It's performed beautifully, and there like really isn't any similarities with SOS here, man. What Do I Do has her signature vocals over some fantastic production. 30 for 30 with Kendrick has some wonderful synth lines,
Hmm.
and her lyricism is fantastic. Kendrick obviously adds what he always adds to his features, but what I loved about this track was the harmonies between them. Just so wonderful. Scorsese Baby Daddy is not only the best track name of the week, but it's a great song. The production and instrumentation on this one is some of my favorites as well. Another Life is just fucking gorgeous, John. So there's actually like quite a bit of down tempo stuff, but the thing about SZA for me is that it never really matters when she does down tempo because her voice keeps me engaged with like every second. This is between an 8 and a 9 for me. Another Life is probably going to be my standout, man.
Great pick, man. I really like that track. There's really no song on here I didn't like. I think BMF is like the highest played one, which is interesting because like the girl from Ipanema interpolation in that one has always kind of rubbed me a weird way. But man, no skips, no skips. I'm glad Another Life was your standout. That's a solid pick.
Yeah, man.
Okay, as two old heads ourselves, what did you think of the Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre album Missionary?
This has to be the most boomer dad album they could have possibly made. I hope I don't offend anybody, but I'm gonna trash this album here for a couple minutes.
Go for it.
It is so cheesy, every single second of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm kind of glad they're listening to Tom Petty and Sting, but there are some moments on here with the production from Dre that had me thinking, why?
Yep,
Being that it's Dre, it obviously like works, right? Like it's good and it sounds good. I
kind
just
of. Yeah.
really didn't think that we were going to get like a victory lap album of interpolations from MIA and Sting on the same record. I thought we were going to get some like West Coast classic contenders, and I don't really think that's what we got, you know?
No.
Instead we got a Pink Floyd sample. Snoop has always like had a few misses on his albums past Doggy Style, but even like he even says it himself on this record. You're damn right I made a life out of this hustle. Everything the dude said like sounds good. Like everything that comes out of Snoop's mouth, you like want to believe, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the point, right? It all sounds good. Is that good enough to have a good album? In my opinion, no. I don't really like this one, nor do I see myself going back to it anytime soon. It's a fun listen, and like the beats go really well as background music. I say all of this and I still have like an unfathomable love for both of them, you know, because
Yeah.
they've made some incredible classics. Maybe I was the naive one for thinking we were going to be getting something resembling a classic or something, but it's a 3 for me. I didn't pick a standout.
Whoa.
What'd you think about this one?
I mean, I didn't like it, but you didn't like it a lot more than I did. And I thought it was like listenable, but I think that like it's so forgettable and kind of boring and corny and not really legacy tainting. I wouldn't say that, but kind of like the last Justin Timberlake album. It's like, why come back if this is what you're coming back with? Or Fall Out Boy. Like you're making
Yeah,
serviceable music that's getting streams and like maybe a portion of your fan base is enjoying it, but like you can't say it's worth it or that it's really adding much to your legacy. As an artist who has like a project, you have the creative right to do whatever you want with that, but people don't have to keep enjoying it or pretending to. This album is okay at best. I think there's moments on here where both guys show they're capable of still doing what they do, but it's so much more sizzle than steak. Like you said, all these expensive samples that don't add a fucking thing to this album, man. It's also suffers from poor sequencing, song selection. It's front loaded. It lacks cohesion. Like But like you said, kind of despite all of its faults, it's not a bad listen. It could be even argued that it is a fun listen. I think Dre especially can still conjure up some like interesting things when chopping up keys and things like that on those piano driven beats. Snoop is Snoop. He always does the Snoop thing. I think songs like Shangri-La and Gorgeous are kind of what I was expecting. Those ones I wouldn't say delivered, but they're fine. Songs like Last Dance with Mary Jane, Another Part of Me were exactly what I was not hoping for when this got announced. You got to take the good with the bad, man, and I can't give them credit where they didn't really earn it on this one. I'm going to be generous and say it's a 5 for me. My standout is Out of the Blue, which I honestly think is a really good track and would be a great track if they didn't use a lazy sample for the hook on it. But yeah, I too will not be revisiting this one anytime soon. I imagine we're gonna see this as a vinyl, like on the shelf in vinyl shops, just for the shock value, though.
Yeah, probably that and Target or whatever, but
There's no way Target's gonna have a fucking condom on the shelf.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You know what? They do sell like Target brand. I don't know what the Target brand is, but I think they sell sex toys now that are like Target brand. Bizarre.
Massimo dildos or what?
Hearth and Home.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Chip and Joanna are branching out. Please don't sue me for defamation. All right, man. We got this new Smino album, maybe in Nirvana. I know you've been digging this one. I every time I was listening to this, I'm like, I bet Brandon's fucking with this. What are your thoughts on it?
Like SZA, this dude does not miss. Smino is back, and if I remember correctly, his last album ended up on one of my year-end lists.
Yep.
So needless to say, I was excited that this one dropped. Expectations were met almost immediately. This is smooth. It's R&B laden pop music with just a boatload of character from Smino and like a little bit more rapping than his previous record, maybe even like a lot more. Love that he's got a Bun B feature on this one that actually
Yes.
made me like laugh out loud a little. I was like, he would. This dude is so smooth, man. He can slide right between smooth R&B right into some bars, all while like a smooth jazz bass line meanders around him. Tracks like Ready Set Goku really accentuate this trait of his. The production throughout this record is fantastic. Tracks like maybe in Nirvana, In Sync, and Ho Nouns all seem like extremely intentional and show like clear connections between him and Groove, who was happens to be a major producer on this one. Obviously, you hear like Thundercats sound on Ho Nouns, but again, it seems like incredibly tailored and intentional. Album is short at 28 minutes, but that's cool because it's all so good.
Yeah.
Immediate replay value. Man, I've revisited this record quite a bit, his
Hmm.
last record quite a bit throughout the years. And I have a feeling that this one will also be revisited quite a bit. He's got that style that I really vibe with. It's an easy 8.5 for me. Ho Nouns or Ready Set Goku are going to be my standouts from this one, man.
Yeah, it's a really good album. That three-song run of Dear Friend, Ready Set Goku, and maybe in Nirvana is so solid. I
So
don't
good.
love the back half of the album quite as much as the front half, but I wouldn't say it's front loaded. Also, the track with Bun B's in the back half, and that one and the other one with Thundercat are both really, really
They're
good.
good.
It's a very brief album. There's really not much to say about it. It comes in less than 30 minutes. I think that that's to its benefit, honestly. It doesn't feel much less substantial than his last album, even though it's shorter. But it didn't leave as much of an impact on me after the first few listens. I just enjoy it every time I listen to it. I don't really take much away from it other than, goddamn, this dude can rap. And like he does it in a way that really only he can do it right now, which like I guess that phrase can kind of get thrown away, but I think anybody that's ever heard Smino rap goes, "Oh yeah, that's different." Like
Right.
it's not how anyone else is doing it. High six, low seven for me. The title track, maybe in Nirvana, is my standout. Really good.
Great.
Dude, we got two metal albums to talk about before we get out of here. One from Paleface Swiss. It's called Cursed. I'm gonna ask you this in the best way. What the fuck, Brandon?
Welcome to Brandon's review of Korn's album Iowa. Oh wait, I'm sorry. This is Paleface Swiss, and the album is Cursed. I'm kidding, of course, but you'd have to be deaf to not hear the similarities between
Yup.
both Korn and Slipknot here. I have heard quite a bit of buzz about this band for like a while now, and I never gave them a listen. So I threw this one on because of the buzz, and honestly, I get why they have so much of
Yeah.
it, John.
Hmm.
Slipknot still leads the new metal conversation as they have since the early 2000s, but there's really no denying that they've softened their sound as of late, and Paleface Swiss is here to fill that void that was left behind, pun intended there. As a huge fan of Iowa and early Corn music, this album actually does quite a bit for me. It is angry, it is almost hateful, it's cringy yet campy enough for it to not matter too much to me. It's got the deathcore tuning and breakdown worship of a deathcore record. Not exactly what I expected. There's like some rapping a little bit, I think, on Enough.
Hmm.
But I actually left with like some appreciation and some nostalgia. So I'm gonna take that for what it is. This was honestly, it was a really fun listen for somebody who's not familiar with the band because I wasn't. All I heard was a bunch of buzz, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let's try it out. Oh, they dropped an album. Bet. Let's throw it on. I think it's probably, I bet it's gonna be good. Everybody's talking about it. I actually expected a more like traditional deathcore release because those are the areas of the internet that I was hearing about
Hmm.
this band in. I really liked this, man. Reminded me as if like Spite decided to cover all of Iowa. You know what I mean?
That's such a good fucking. I wish that happened, but I guess this is the closest
Right.
we're gonna get. What's your score on it?
Oh, I'm gonna give it somewhere between a 6 and a 7. Hatred is gonna be my standout.
Of
That
course.
song just opens up after that intro and just pummels you with hate. And hatred is like the only word for that song. So
Took the words right out of my mouth, man. This album fucking rips. Took many turns I was not expecting when I hit play on it, but not a single one I did not enjoy. Like you said, that atmospheric intro into just the riffy as fuck hatred, such a great way to open an album. I'm not usually into like the way metal bands incorporate new metal and post rock like this, but every time they started doing something different, it was always just welcome, and I thought executed well, extremely well, at least to my liking. I see why you wanted to talk about this one immediately. It's a great way to kick off our metal album reviews for 2025. Strong 7 for me. My standout is And With Hope You'll Be Damned. I love the just uh escalating anger in his voice as
right.
that one goes. Really, really good stuff, man. Thanks for adding this one.
Of course, I'm glad you liked it. I really liked it. I actually heard
I did too.
after the album had dropped and I had written my reviews, I went onto the internet and I heard a lot of like old school deathcore fans being like, "This album sucks," and I'm like, "I'm re-listening to the same album. Like, this is good, bro. Yeah, it's Slipknot worship, but it was that bad."
Yep. I mean, I like the worship, man. All right,
Agreed. Agreed.
one more metal album this week. We got Misanthropy, The Ever Crushing Weight of Stagnance. What are your thoughts on this one?
John, if you thought I wasn't going to throw one last Transcending Obscurity Records Tech Death album to cap off 2024, you were sadly mistaken. This thing is amazing. This is just technical death metal done in such a fantastic way. I love it when bands do this thing like Misanthropy's doing here, where they kind of let each song be like a different spotlight for a different band member, you know? Like A Cure for the Pestilence has the drumming of a just monster in the background of this track. The All Devouring has that guitar work, just the crazy technical riffage. Uh, Sepulture has this bass line that is undeniable. This whole entire record is just a lot of fun. I couldn't not throw it on. Especially because I like the band, right? We haven't gotten an album from them since their debut, Abhorrent Metamorphosis in 2018. And this was great, man. I really, really liked this one. What did you think about it?
Dude, it's a good album. So many blast beats and death growls, some incredible like instrumental sections. The breakdowns are excellent. It never really felt formulaic to me. Definitely the type of tech death album I can get behind. I hear a lot of similarities between the Buried in Me and them, or at least influence, I guess, which is not a bad band to be compared to or reminded of when listening to something. I could
Right.
see this one growing on me more. I'm gonna give it a 6 for now. My standout is Consumed by the Abyss. That last breakdown on that one really sealed it as my
So
standout.
good. So
Overall, though,
good.
really good album, though.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you enjoyed it, brother.
All right, man, that does it for us this week. We're gonna kind of have a mega episode next week as we will be covering the first 3 weeks of January. We got like new albums from Bad Bunny, Franz Ferdinand, Stick to Your Guns, and more. Make sure you're following along with the weekly rotating playlist. You can find the link to that in the show notes. Keep up with everything we're going to be covering on each week's episode. You can also find us on Instagram and Reddit. Just give us a follow, say hi. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.